things seem to be heating up in the Ukraine. Attacks in Syria, yeah, major, and an attack in Iran, which is really interesting. Could be Israel doing that. So, whew, and the Houthis not Houthis in the blowfish, the Houthis in Yemen attacking Saudi Arabia directly. Wow, so much to take in, a lot of COVID news, masks and mandates and vaccine mandates coming and going. My, these are exciting times. There's even a small bit of evidence. This is a bit speculation, but you can YouTube videos and see for yourself. But it's pretty interesting that it looks like the volcano that erupted just a ways from Tonga. There was a bit of a splash that was detected from the air, from satellites prior to the eruption. It's pretty interesting to think that maybe that could have been triggered. That volcano could have been triggered by some kind of a testing missile or something. Who knows? But it's something to look at. I'm not saying I believe it, but the evidence is interesting, at least. Okay, so we want to talk about Moses chapter 7. There's just so much in this. I want to focus on a few verses, and then if I have time in this video, I'll go into some other things. Verse 48 is fascinating to me, and 49. We've talked about this before. We've talked about the earth being us as humans being a mirror of the earth, and the earth being a mirror of us. The earth being created spiritually and then physically, and then it was physically baptized, and then will be spiritually baptized by fire, cleansed by fire, right? And I want to get into that here in just a minute. And then our lives mirror that. Created spiritually, physically, baptized physically, and then baptized by fire. The earth has, as we learn in the Doctrine and Covenants, has fulfilled its measure of creation. It's a celestial candidate. It's done it. It's done what it's supposed to do. And the earth reacts to sin. So with that in mind, we can talk about global warming, we can talk about climate change, we can talk about the increase of natural disasters, tornadoes, volcanoes, whirlwinds, fires, drought. You can go down the list. And are these just normal cycles? Can we prove this scripturally, that it's more than just that it is a reaction? Moses 7, I think, gives us the most direct and powerful, although there are other scriptures that we should go to. And I will go to a few of those. So Moses chapter 7, verse 48. And it came to pass that Enoch looked upon the earth, and he heard a voice from the bowels thereof. This is so cool. Saying, woe, woe is me, the mother of men. Now, the mother of men is an interesting phrase. The Native American referred to earth as Mother Earth or Earth Mother. This is really a strong indication that the source of the Native American, and not just the Native American, but a lot of individuals that are connected to the earth, and societies that have been connected to the earth, they have this relationship with the earth, and they refer to it as to her as mother. Okay. To hear a voice, and for this to happen, and this is Enoch speaking, right? And then recorded through Moses, and then through Joseph Smith. Woe is me, the mother of men. And we'll find some other scriptures that refer to the earth as Mother Earth. So, what I was going to say is our source is the same, whether we're Native American. Reason why this came so clear is one of our family of watchers is Hopi. And this person reached out to me and left a comment, and it reminded me of a quote from the book of the Hopi. Now the quote, I found the quote, I couldn't find the book, but the book was the Book of the Hopi by Frank Waters, and he was a Nobel nominated for Nobel. I don't know if he ever won it, but he was nominated several times for literature. Frank Waters. And in the Book of the Hopi, there's this interesting quote that I'll get to in a minute. But let's finish this scripture. I'm sorry. Okay. Woe is me, the mother of men. I am pained, I am weary because of the wickedness of my children. This is the mother-child connection with the earth. And the reaction of the wickedness of her children and her reaction to it. When shall I rest and be cleansed from the filthiness which has gone forth out of me? I've produced this filthiness, right? Which has gone forth out of me. When will my Creator sanctify me, that I may rest and righteousness for a season abide upon my face? And when Enoch heard the earth mourn, he wept and cried unto the Lord, saying, O Lord, wilt thou not have compassion upon the earth? Wilt thou not bless the children of Noah? This is fascinating. It really does connect us with Earth Mother, or Mother Earth, or the mother of men, right? Now, let's look at a couple of other scriptures. So we take that one and then we go, okay, is there anything else? Let's go to Isaiah. We love Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah 24, I believe. Isaiah 24. And let's see what this says. Isaiah 24 and verse 4. Listen to this. Isaiah 24:4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinances, and broken the everlasting covenant. Woo! So good. While we're in Isaiah 33, the earth mourneth and languish. Lebanon is ashamed and hewn down. Sharon is like the wilderness, and Bashan and Carmel shake off their fruits. So we have this idea of the earth mourning, right? Okay. We can go, let's go to Mosiah 2:26. Mosiah 2:26, just to get another flavor of this idea of Mother Earth talked about in Scripture. So we have Pearl of Great Price, we had Old Testament, and now we want to go to Book of Mormon. And let's read this. I think it's here. And I, even I, whom ye call your king. So this is King Benjamin, his sermon. Listen to what he has to say. Am no better than ye yourselves are, for I am also of the dust, And ye behold that I am old and am about to yield up the mortal frame to its mother earth. Dang. This idea, this concept, this teaching is both in the Old Testament, Pearl of Great Price, which is Old Testament, really Old Testament, revealed through the prophet Joseph, the Book of Mormon, which this, when that one was dated, I don't know, that was probably 100 and something BC, that time period. So, and there are others. Let's go to Mormon 6:5, because that's towards the end of the Book of Mormon, and see what that says. Mormon 6:5, and the church. Let's see, is that right? 6:15. Sorry, 6:15. Well, there is no 6:15, so I wrote that down wrong. I'm sorry about that. There is a scripture in, I'm in Moroni, that's why. So let's go to Mormon. Mormon 6:15, sorry about that. Okay. So Mormon 6:15. And it came to pass that there were 10 more who did fall by the sword, and there 10,000 each. Yea, even all my people, save it were those 24 who were with me. And also a few who had escaped into the south countries, and a few who had deserted over unto the Lamanites had fallen. And their flesh and their bones and blood lay upon the face of the earth, being left by the hands of those who slew them to molder upon the land, and to crumble and to return to their mother earth. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. That was a sad scene, but what's cool about it is referring to the earth as Mother Earth. So life comes forth out of the earth. Our very bodies came out of the earth, the dust of the earth. King Benjamin taught that. We learn it in the creation. All these things are there. Now, I want to read a couple of quotes that I've collected over the years about this concept of how we treat the earth, both with respect and keeping it clean and nice and rotating, and I love the idea of right now my mind's not connecting very well. Probably a lack of sleep for a few days, but where the Jewish tradition is to let things rest every 7 years, let the earth rest, and just don't plant, don't plow, don't just let it rest. That kind of concept. So here, this is a little off, but I'll tie it back in together. But okay, so this is from the Book of the Hopi, and by Frank Waters. The book, I believe, was published in 1963. And this quote was concerning the Cherokee Nation, but it was to make a point about how the Hopi and a lot of other Native Americans felt about the earth and about the land and about all this. So listen to this. This is really, really interesting. The allotment system was, okay, so this is a quote by Frank Waters out of the book called Book of the Hopi. The allotment system was conceived by Senator Henry L. Dawes of Massachusetts. All right, right there, the allotment system by a senator, I'm suspect of. Let's see what he says and what this is. So I'll start again. The allotment system was conceived by Senator Henry L. Dawes of Massachusetts during a visit to the Cherokees' new home in Oklahoma. So the Cherokee had been displaced. The Cherokee were part of the 5 civilized tribes they called the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, the Cree, and the Seminole. I think that's right. Amazing. It's where we really got our form of government with the judicial, the legislative, and the executive branches of government came from those tribes. that had this amazing system already in place. So this Henry L. Dawes of Massachusetts, he visits the Cherokee in their new home in Oklahoma. like, hey, we want to move to Oklahoma. Nothing against Oklahoma, guys. I've been there. It's a beautiful state. Okay. Now, here's what he reported. Here's what Henry L. Dawes reported, his observation. He goes, the head chief told us that there was not a family in that whole nation that had not a home of its own. There was not a pauper in the nation, and the nation did not owe $1. Yet the defect of the system was apparent. So no poverty, everyone has a home, and they don't owe anybody anything. That sounds like a pretty good system, but this really smart senator from Massachusetts is going to tell us the defect of the system. Here's what he says. They have got as far as they can go because they own their land in common. There is no selfishness. Shame, no selfishness, which is at the bottom of civilization. To have no selfishness, according to this wonderful senator from Massachusetts. Who's that sound like? They're at the bottom of civilization because there's no selfishness. Listen to this. Until this people will consent to give up their lands and divide them, this is the allotment system, divide them among their citizens so as to each can own the land he cultivates, they will not make much more progress. Wow. So progress is initiated by selfishness, which is initiated by gathering things and having them in your possession, and you own it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, here's some. I'll have to abbreviate this, but this is so good. This is by Chief Seattle. Chief Seattle. Okay, he wrote an editorial. How can you buy or sell the sky, the warmth of the land? This idea is strange to us. If we do not own the freshness of the air and the sparkle of the water, how can you buy them? If we don't own them, how can you buy them? Every part of this earth is sacred to my people. Every shining pine needle, every sandy shore, every mist in the dark woods, every clearing and humming insect is holy in the memory and experience of my people. The sap which courses through the trees carries the memory of the red man. The white man's dead forget the country of their birth when they go walk among the stars. This is really cool. Listen to this. Our dead never forget this beautiful earth, for it is the mother of the red man. We are part of the earth, and it is part of us. This is exactly what Moses is teaching. The perfumed flowers are our sisters. The dead, the horse, the great eagle, these are all our brothers. The rocky crest, the juices in the meadows, the body heat of the pony. I love that. I love the smell of horse. And when they sweat from riding them or being with them. And man all belong to the same family. So let me just read a little bit more. So when the great chief in Washington sends word that he wishes to buy our land, he asks much of us. The great chief sends word he will reserve us a place so we can live comfortably to ourselves. He will be our father and we will be his children. So we will consider your offer to buy our land. So will you consider our offer to buy our land? But it will not be easy, for this land is sacred to us. This shining water that moves in the streams and the rivers is not just water, but the blood of our ancestors. If we sell you land, you must remember it is sacred, and you must teach your children that it is sacred, and that each ghostly reflection in the clear water of the lakes tells of events and memories in the life of my people. The waters murmur is the voice of my Father's Father. I could go on. This is so good. Let me read the last two paragraphs. I've skipped a lot in this. This is again from Chief Seattle. Okay. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the sons of the earth. This is scripture. Whatever happens to the earth happens to us. Okay. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the sons of the earth. Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand of it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. Boom. Okay, listen to this. And I know I'm using red man and white man, but that's what he wrote at the time. So just chill. Breathe in, out through your mouth, and you'll be okay. The white man, whose God walks and talks with him as a friend to friend, cannot be exempt from common destiny. We may be brothers after all. We shall see. One thing we know, which the white man may someday discover. Listen to this. Our God is the same God. You may think you own him as you wish to own our land, but you cannot. He is the God of man, and his compassion is equal for the red man and the white. This earth is precious to him. We know that. We know that this earth is, that's why he destroyed man through the flood, to protect the earth. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. The whites too shall pass, perhaps sooner than all other tribes. Contaminate your own bed, and you will one night suffocate in your own waste. Whoo! I got chills on that one. Chills on that one. Last paragraph. But in perishing, you will shine brightly, fired by the strength of God who brought you to this land, United States of America, North America, let's just say, because that's what Chief Seattle is referring to, who brought you to this land and for some special purpose gave you dominion over this land. I wonder what that purpose is. Is it to gather scattered Israel? Is it to see Joseph take off the disguise and reveal who he really is? Okay, sorry. That destiny is a mystery to us, for we do not understand when the buffalo are all slaughtered. We know there's a purpose. We know God gave you dominion over it, but we don't know why. Okay, editorial. When I'm looking here, I'm talking, right? For we do not understand when the buffalo are slaughtered and wild horses are tamed, and sacred corners of the forest heavy with the scent of many men, and the view of the hills blotted by talking wires. Where is the thicket? It's gone. Where is the eagle? It's gone. And that's how he ends his editorial. It's fascinating to me how right that is and how it goes right along with Moses chapter 7. In verse 56, and he heard a loud voice in Moses 7, and the heavens were veiled, and the creations of God mourned, and the earth groaned. This is exactly what Chief Seattle is talking about. Let me read a quote by William Ellery Channing. Okay, so he was a Harvard-educated minister in the early 1800s. Listen to this. I love this because I think it ties in to our responsibility as children of Mother Earth, if you will. Now, look, I know Father in heaven is the Father of our spirits. I understand that. But the scriptures refer to the earth as a mother as well, or a mother, so a parent. And so just go with it and realize it's in scripture, okay? This is what William Ellery Channing wrote. To live content with small means, to seek elegance rather than luxury, and refinement rather than fashion. This is so important for us today in our society. We need to hear this. I'm going to continue the quote. To be worthy, not respectable. Oh, I have so much respect for that person. To be worthy of that respect, right? To be worthy, not respectable, and wealthy, not rich. Oh, this is so good. To study hard, think quietly, talk gently. I got to work on that. Talk gently, act frankly. To listen to the stars, the birds, the babes and sages, old people, with an open heart. To treat all cheerfully, do all bravely, await occasion, hurry never. In a word, to let the spiritual, unbidden, and unconscious grow up through the common. This is to be my symphony. William Ellery Channing. Love that quote. Love that quote. And I think it ties into all this. Now, there's one other thing I want to read about some, what did I do with that? These are some quotes from the latter-day prophets or apostles. This is Brigham Young's quote. I love this one. The earth is very good in and of itself and has abided a celestial law. I think that's section 84. Consequently, we should not despise it nor desire to leave it, but rather desire to strive to obey the same law that the earth abides, and abide it as honorably as does the earth. That is beautiful. That's Brigham Young. Journal of Discourses. Not supposed to read that stuff. Journal of Discourses. Okay. Here's one by John Taylor. We begin to find out that we are earthly. We came from the earth. Our feelings cling to it. When we die, we return to the earth. When we come forth in the resurrection, it will be as immortal beings to dwell on a celestial earth. It will be renovated, and so will the people that dwell on it. Renovated. I like that. That might be the word I use now instead of resurrected, is renovated. I wish I was renovated. Okay, now, one other quote that I want to read. This is by Tom Brown. And I've talked about him before. He's still alive. He was raised back in New Jersey, of all places. And his grandfather, actually, I think it was his friend's grandfather, was Stalking Wolf, Apache. But they called him grandfather. And he taught Tom and his buddy all these things about nature. And the books are amazing. I love the books. But here's a quote from one of those books. Above all else, grandfather taught the sacredness of the earth. The earth is a guiding force behind all physical realities. The earth is a guiding force behind all physical realities. She is the mother of all things and the physical manifestation of the Creator. Now look, I don't know if all this is doctrinally sound, but it feels good. It feels good. If the earth is a celestial candidate already, and it's fulfilled its measure, meaning that it is, in fact, let's go to that. I think it's section 84. I hope. It might be 88. I thought it was right there, but let's see. Maybe it's 88. Okay, it's 88. Sorry. Section 88, verse 25. And again, verily I say unto you, the earth abideth the law of a celestial kingdom, for it filleth the measure of its creation, and transgresseth not the law. So if you want to follow the example of an entity that has achieved the ability to be a celestial candidate, it's the earth, because it abideth the law of the celestial kingdom, for it filleth the measure of its creation. So that's what we need to do, is fulfill or filleth the measure of our creation. Okay, all right, so let me finish this quote here again. Okay, the earth is a temple. I have no problem with that. A university. You know, we call temples the Lord's University. How cool is this? Where man can learn the lessons of flesh and spirit in their purest forms. The earth is also a place where all truth is manifest. A crucible where one can check the validity of what he believes to be true. I've got to think about that. That's pretty cool. The earth, grandfather taught, is a living being, the sum total of all her parts, and all parts are interconnected to the whole, where the whole is its physical consciousness and love of the Creator. We are all part of the Earth Mother, and whatever we do, whatever we take, we are taking and affecting in reality parts of ourselves. Within the earth resides the consciousness of all things, which is bound together by the spirit that moves in all things. I would call that the light of Christ. That life force that connects us to each other and to the sacred oneness. It is this oneness that makes all things brothers and sisters of one flesh, the flesh of Earth Mother. I love that. Because what we're talking about is the New Jerusalem. We're talking about this oneness to become of one flesh, the city of Enoch, right? To become one. Okay, so here we talk about, and in Moses 7, it kind of wraps up with the concept of a New Jerusalem. I want to read verse 60 in Moses 7. And the Lord said unto Enoch, as I live, even so will I come in the last days. This is a promise to us. In the days of wickedness and vengeance to fulfill the oath which I have made unto you concerning the children of Noah. So we're the children of Noah, because the earth hadn't been destroyed since Noah, right? Now, while I'm there, let's just talk really briefly about, for Christ once suffered for sins, the just for the unjust, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but quickened by the Spirit, by which also he went and preached unto the spirits in prison, which sometime were disobedient, when once the long suffering of God waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was a preparing, wherein few, that is 8 souls, were saved by water. 8 souls were saved by water. And why were they saved by water? Because the earth, the wickedness was destroyed, and the influence of wickedness saved them. The cleansing of the earth saved the 8 souls. So they were literally saved by water. We will be saved by water, by being cleansed, by going down in the water, coming forth out of the water, a representation of cleansing, of refurbishing, being resurrected beings coming forth out. Now, will we be saved by the cleansing of fire? Let's go to 1 Nephi 22 and listen to this. Because if we're saved by water, if Noah, the 8 souls, Noah and his family, were saved by water, will we be saved by fire? Listen to this. 1 Nephi 22. Where is that? Oh. 1 Nephi 22. Yeah, okay, here it is. Sorry. 1 Nephi 22:17. Wherefore he will preserve the righteous by his power, even if it so be that the fullness of his wrath must come, and the righteous be preserved even unto the destruction of their enemies by fire. Wherefore the righteous need not fear, for thus saith the prophet, they shall be saved, even if it so be as by fire. They will be saved. Us, if we stay on that covenant path, we'll be saved by fire, just as Moses and his family were saved by water, and we'll be saved by water, we'll be saved by fire. This is really good. And notice the word preserve, preserve, preserve. That's in Jacob chapter 5, many, many times. Preserving, the Lord wanted to preserve the fruit of his vineyard. And we can go through a lot of things, a lot of scriptures, but that preservation comes through the ordinances of the temple, while baptism on through. Saved by water, saved by the Spirit, stay on the covenant path. We're preserved. We're sealed. Remember, we talked about that. We're sealed. Just like a mason jar has that seal with the rubber line, that lid goes on, and you heat it, and then boop, the lid goes down, and it's sealed. It's preserved. And that's through the ordinances. Through the ordinance thereof is the power of godliness manifest, right? Okay, so, okay, so I was over here. So we talked about Noah, and we talked about them being saved by water, and we're also going to be saved by fire. Verse 61 in Moses 7, and the day shall come that the earth shall rest. But before that day, the resting period, if you can, you'll read further, is 1,000 years when Christ comes. The earth can take a breather because it's terrestrialized, and it gets to relax. But before that happens, the heavens shall be darkened, the veil of darkness shall cover the earth, the heavens shall shake, the earth, and also the earth, and great tribulation shall be among the children of men. But just as we read in 1 Nephi, but my people will I preserve. Now this could be a rapture scripture. I don't know. I'm just saying it's a possibility. He's going to preserve his people, his people. And righteousness will I send down out of heaven, and truth will I send forth out of the earth to bear testimony of mine only begotten, his resurrection from the dead, yea, also the resurrection of all men, and righteousness and truth will I cause to sweep the earth as with a flood, to gather out mine elect from the four quarters of the earth unto a place which I shall prepare, an holy city, that by my people may gird up their loins and be looking forth for the time of my coming. We should be looking forth. We're watching. For there shall be my tabernacle, and it shall be called Zion, a new Jerusalem. Now, I'm just going to finish with this. A new Jerusalem. Notice it doesn't say the New Jerusalem. It's a New Jerusalem. And when you look at the other references in Ether and in section, I think it's 84, and then there's a few other references to a New Jerusalem, it always says a New Jerusalem. Now, even in section 84, when it's talking specifically about Jackson County, it says a city named New Jerusalem. Not that is the New Jerusalem or that's where it'll be, but a city named. Well, let's go to that and see if I'm right, because that's the way I understood it a while back. So if we go to section 84, verse 2, and the word of the Lord concerning the church establishment in the last days for the restoration of his people, as he has spoken by the mouth of his prophets, and for the gathering of his saints to stand upon Mount Zion, which shall be the city of New Jerusalem. The city of New Jerusalem. That's different than the New Jerusalem, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. Or a New Jerusalem. When we say a New Jerusalem, it's a type. It's an example. It's it's a descriptive word of a gathering of like-minded people called saints. That's my opinion. So I've maintained this for quite some time now, that a New Jerusalem is an example of the Old Jerusalem. It's a type where people gather, where there's a temple, and it's the focal point. And I do believe that a New Jerusalem is a moving target, if you will, depending on where the saints are gathering. So that's just just something to think about. I know there's some people that get some real heartburn over that, and that's fine. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this one. You guys are amazing. The comments are just incredible, and your experiences, your heartfelt, your testimonies of the restored gospel. We're going to stay on this covenant path together. We're going to be preserved. We're going to be sealed. We're going to experience a New Jerusalem. We'll talk about the city of Enoch. I think in maybe my next, or I don't know when, but we'll talk about the city of Enoch and it coming down. The scriptures that President Eyring referred to in the women's session a year or two ago. I can't remember, but it was amazing. We'll embrace each other and kiss each other's necks, and gosh, it's just, and you sisters are going to be a part of that. Preparing and being a part of that is just amazing. So we'll talk about that. Keep an eye on the Middle East. Keep an eye. Now look at the Ukraine and see. You have Turkey, and then you have the Black Sea, and then right above the Black Sea is Ukraine. It's all just so close. It's not like we're talking. It's all connected and it's all close. So let's pay attention to that, and onward and upward. Love you all.